Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. Our mission today, well, it's pretty specific. We're looking at the Big Four, from the Southern Hemisphere, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, Argentina. It's only been, 21 days since the Rugby Championship finished up, and boom, they're straight into the 6-week Autumn Nation Series tour up north.
Yeah, it's a relentless schedule, absolutely brutal. And the sources we've looked at, they really highlight the immediate hurdles these teams are facing. Things like player availability, especially outside the official windows, squad depth after a long season, and even potential coaching dramas bubbling under the surface.
We've already seen it start, haven't we? Joe Schmidt's Wallabies just squeezed past Japan, 1915. A bit sketchy, really. It just shows this whole period isn't about rest. It's about pure grit and staying power. So the big question we're asking is, which team is actually in the best shape to, conquer the North right now?
It's the ultimate test, isn't it? Can they keep their form? Can they develop players, try new things, all while being jet-lagged and playing in tough away conditions?
Exactly. And look, we're going to be tracking this intensely over the next few weeks. So if you haven't yet, now's the perfect time to hit subscribe to Rugby Obsession. You really don't want to miss our analysis during this tour. Okay, let's get into it. Starting with the world champs, South Africa. They seem to be going through this massive, maybe even a bit risky style change.
Well, Rassie Erasmus finds himself in a really interesting spot. He's demanding wins now, like every single test matters. But at the same time, he's trying to pull off this huge tactical shift. Keep the pressure D, keep the scrum power, the bulk trademarks, but bolt on Tony Brown's really ambitious counterattacking game. It's this balancing act, isn't it? The appeal of the new versus the comfort of what's always worked.
And it's interesting how Rassie himself framed it. He mentioned giving chances to 47 players, talking about a lack of continuity, partly because of that rotation. But they're still digging deep because of who's unavailable. The list is pretty long. Machunu, Steenkamp, Morat, Hanekom, Roos, Lou, Van der Merwe, Arenzi, Fazzy too. That's a lot of talent missing.
That definitely creates some instability. But nothing highlighted the pressure quite like the Jan Hendrik Wessels situation. That 9-week ban for the groin grab, that's a big blow, tactically as well as, for discipline.
Right, so why is his absence such a big deal? The source material seemed to suggest losing him sets back their bomb squad development by months. What's so special about him being a hybrid pro fooker?
It's about that versatility he offers, exactly what Erasmus needs for this faster, more dynamic game plan they're trying to build. Wessels was really improving in the TRC this year. He actually topped the charts for breakdown steals, nearly 1.5 turnovers every 80 minutes. He was meant to be a key piece, allowing them to mix and match the front row in new ways. Losing him forces them back into more conventional, maybe less flexible selections. It hinders that style evolution.
And Rassie's reaction on X, or Twitter, that was classic Rassie, wasn't it? It just got tougher. We now have to beat them on the field and in the boardrooms, and then that very pointed Africans comment. So are the sources saying this is genuine frustration about disciplinary calls, or is it more about deflecting from Wessel's mistake and maybe their own rotation challenges? The analysis seems to lean towards it being, well, a bit of both, but maybe mostly deflection. Classic Rassie tactics, Turn an internal issue Wessel's messing up into an us against the world thing. It feeds that siege mentality, and that pressure, that tension, it's going to be tested very soon. Their huge game is November 8th in Paris against France. Revenge for that World Cup quarterfinal. Yeah, everyone's framing it that way. Okay, so South Africa are definitely rolling the dice, trying to evolve under pressure. Meanwhile, if we look at the All Blacks, the sources suggest they're kind of stuck. Yes, they won one more game of the TRC this year, shared the series with the Boks, but the stats seem to show they're just treading water, not really pushing forward, are they?
And that naturally raises questions about what's happening internally under Scott Robertson. There's been instability. You had Jason Holland leaving as backs coach, following Leon MacDonald out the door not long before, both heavily involved in the attack side of things.
Yeah, the analysis we read pointed to Israel Dagg, the former All Black, speculating Scott Hansen might be the, quote, common denominator there. Dagg described a sense of confusion, so many voices in the coaching setup.
Well, if the game plan is as clear as mud for the players, as Dagg put it, then maybe it's not surprising the stats aren't really showing improvement. It's actually quite hard to pinpoint one area where they're clearly developing, especially in attack, which, like you said, was MacDonald and Holland's area. That lack of clarity seems to be causing stagnation.
And what's really stark is how much their global reputation now seems to hang on these next few weeks up north. That Ireland game on November 1st that's become a massive rivalry since Chicago back in 2016, hasn't it? And then England on the 15th. These two games could really define where Razor's All Blacks actually stand. If they slip up, you imagine those internal coaching whispers could get a lot louder.
Definitely. Okay, moving from internal issues to just sheer physical limits, let's talk Wallabies. For Joe Schmidt's team, this whole 2025 season feels like a massive test of their depth, just survival, really, with the Lions Tour, the TRC, these pre-tour games. This November series pushes them to 15 tests this year. That's maybe 2 or 3 more than usual. You can see the strain.
Oh, absolutely. And the second row is just a symbol of it, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
become a real problem area. They lost Alakai Loto and Josh Cam to injury against Japan. Add that to Skelton and Hooper likely being out. And Nick Frost, he's apparently close to 1,900 minutes already this season. That's deep into the fatigue red zone. Reports say he's showing signs of wear and tear.
And Schmidt himself basically admitted flanker Nick Champion de Crispini is, quote, not that keen to play lock again. So they are genuinely stretched thin, especially thinking about facing that big England pack first up. The depth just doesn't seem to be there for this incredibly demanding schedule.
And this is the really interesting twist the sources highlighted. Despite all that fatigue, all those injuries, the data actually shows the Wallabies were making huge strides. Alongside the Buckles, they were apparently poised for the biggest statistical jump forward. Schmidt's team fixed a lot of problems from 2024. They let in 11 fewer tries, their ruck control improved, leading to quicker ball, they scored tries faster, and crucially, they got stronger, not weaker, in the last 20 minutes of matches.
And that statistical improvement, that's the bedrock they need right now. It shows the system is working, even with all the disruption. They need to back that up against England first, then target that Ireland game in Dublin. You know, the average margin in their last 7 games against Ireland is tiny, less than 2 points. They're competitive.
That progress in the stats is quite something, isn't it? It really changes the story from just doom and gloom about injuries to one of real grit. Now, if you appreciate getting this kind of deep analysis that cuts through the noise, please do hit subscribe to Rugby Obsession. And a question for you listening. Thinking about those Wallaby improvements, the better ruck speed or finishing game stronger, which one do you think will be more vital for them up north? Let us know your thoughts. Right, finally, let's turn to Argentina, the Pumas. They had that historic TRC in 2024, beating all 3 big rivals for the first time ever. Now, under Felipe Cantapome, they're facing a different kind of test. He's driving this big philosophical change, arguably the riskiest of all 4 teams we're talking about. Yeah, he's really trying to shift them away from just relying on the scrum and the maul, moving towards a faster, all-court game. You can definitely see the influence from his time at Leinster with Cullen and Stuart Lancaster, can't you? It's an exciting vision, but it demands a total change in how they approach the game, especially contact.
And the strategy is fascinating. It's about replacing raw power the old Pumas way. Stuart Lancaster explained it as needing to win collisions in the aggregate.
So what does winning collisions in the aggregate actually mean for the listener?
Well, instead of always looking for that one huge tackle bust, they're aiming for the same outcome, disrupting the defense, getting over the gain line, but doing it through really efficient work, securing super quick ball, precise placement, smart running lines. Lancaster called it a short machine gun sequence of lightning-quick rucks. The idea is the defense never gets set, it's pure tempo.
A really ambitious, high-paced plan for the Pumas.
It is. But, and this is the big but, this style is being seriously challenged by key player shortages, right where it hurts their new philosophy. They're missing Joel Sclavi, who's really their only proven test-level tight head prop right now, and Thomas Albornoz, their main playmaker at 10.
And the impact is clear in the data, isn't it? Without Sclavi anchoring that scrum, they gave up 5 tight head penalties in the last TRC game. You just can't play fast if your set piece is shaky. And without Albornoz pulling the strings, they only scored 8 tries in their last 4 matches. That suggests the distribution, the tempo, just isn't there.
Yeah, so the pressure now really falls on Geronimo Priscintelli at fly half and on some very young front rowers who are having to step up fast. Their tour schedule is maybe a bit kinder. Wales and Scotland feel like 50-50 games, but that final match against England at Twickenham on November 23rd, that will be the real measure of whether this new philosophy can stand up against a top Northern Hemisphere side.
Okay, so let's try and pull these threads together. As these 4 teams head north, the common theme seems to be this tension, right, between needing wins now and trying to evolve their game. South Africa, high risk, high reward change, juggling injuries and Rassie's battles. New Zealand, progress stalled by maybe some internal coaching confusion. Australia, fighting fatigue but showing real statistical growth. Argentina, taking a huge philosophical leap but missing key players.
Absolutely. And the main takeaway, I think, is that almost the entire Southern Bloc seems to be grappling with this post-World Cup challenge. 3 of the 4 are actively kind of undermining their traditional strengths to evolve. It's a massive gamble. And based on the stats, maybe only Australia under Schmidt seems to have found a stable platform to build from right now.
So considering those depth issues, the quick turnaround, the push for evolution everywhere, here's a final thought for you, our listener. Which coach, Erasmus, Robertson, Schmidt, or Contepomi, do you think faces the toughest leadership challenge right now? Balancing those immediate results with the long-term development needed up north, especially when, as the sources suggest, maybe only Schmidt has solid statistical progress to lean on. We'd love to hear what you think. Share your thoughts on the Rugby Obsession community forums.
Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. And please make sure you subscribe to Rugby Obsession for more analysis like this throughout the Autumn Nations series.
Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.